How's it going, everyone? Hopefully you're doing well. Welcome back to another tank review. Today we're going to be talking about the Phase 1, as you can see right here. This does get a standard large repair kit, exactly the same as like the, well, for example, the Char Future, the 7772, and also the Kunze-Panzer. It doesn't, obviously the STRVK and like T55A don't get them. So this is a really nice feature to have. It is faster than a standard large repair kit, and you don't have to pay any credits when you use it. So this is free 100% of the time, which is very, very nice. And honestly, if I'm going to choose between the two, I'm going to tell you right now, between the Phase 1 and the 7772, it's going to be the Phase 1. So we're going to go and throw this thing into the comparison on tanks.gg, and we'll compare it to the 7772 and maybe some other tanks that are kind of similar. And then we'll play some games live, as always, to kind of finish it off. And if you think I've already played the games because they're down here, nope, that was in the Skoda T56, so we can just get rid of that. Yeah, right, now it's fresh. Let's go on Tanks GG. Okay, so here we are. We have the Phase 1, we have Conqueror, E75, 7772, T10, and the AMX M451. I think that these are pretty similar in certain respect to the playstyle of the Phase 1. I was debating putting the 257 in there as well, but it's not really the same. Whereas the T10 has the kind of rush into position, get into hold down, and kind of stay into hold down, you can kind of brawl pretty well with the 257, whereas Phase 1 and T10, they're not really super good brawling tanks. So we'll put the T10 in, but the gun is pretty similar anyway with the 257 and the T10. So now straight away you're going to see this has the best DPM. However, it is not that far ahead of everything else. I mean, obviously it's quite far ahead of the 777, but yeah, all the others basically the same. Pen wise, it is also pretty nice. It is one pen behind the Conqueror, and we do all know that the Conqueror gets a very, very nice gun. So yep, but there's that. I would say the Phase 1 actually has a better gun than the Conqueror, purely for when it comes to the heavy brawls. If you're shooting at longer ranges, then of course the Conqueror has a much better gun. It's more accurate, you're going to hit more, you don't have as much dispersion and stuff like that. The Phase 1 is really nice because of 340 heat on the premium rounds. You can deal with E100s and stuff like that, whereas the Conqueror, if it meets an E100, it's a little bit awkward because it's basically like a 50-50, 40% chance that it's actually going to go in. So E100s can be really troll against APCR and stuff like that, so that is why heat is really, really nice against them. Damage-wise, it is kind of... the thing is, I would say it is the worst out of all of these, but it's not bad by any means. I still think that 400 Alpha with kind of that 10 seconds reload is the sweet spot at tier 9 for heavy tanks. But, you know, 440 also kind of works. But, I mean, look at it. Compare that, right? You wait 2 seconds longer, and you can get 530 Alpha rather than 440. I mean, it's kind of just funny. Like, yeah, the DPM on this thing really is awful. I tell you what, we do actually need to go in again and update this tank, because apparently everyone wants to use the other gun, when this gun is much better. So there you go, that's the actual updated DPM. Now back to the Phase 1 before we get sidetracked even more. The shell velocity. It is 1k for the AP and 1k for the heat, which means it is exactly the same no matter what ammo type you use. Even the HE, I think, is the same. Yep, it's still 1,067, not 1,600, that would be really fast heat rounds. For heat, AP, and HE. So no matter what you're firing, you're always going to have the same consistent shell velocity, which is good and also kind of a bit annoying, because I would like my standard shell, you know, AP or APCR, to fire a lot faster than heat rounds would. But whatever. It's definitely not the Super Conqueror's kind of gun, or the Conqueror's gun, where as soon as you load APCR, it goes at 1.3. So yeah, like you definitely don't have the nice shell velocity to snipe at longer distances. But 1k is more than enough. 120mm gun, which means you cannot pen STRV 103Os or 103Bs. So good luck sniping the cupola of them. Ammo capacity of 40 doesn't really matter too much. It's joint first with some of the tanks here. Gun handling wise, it does have pretty bad aim time, although it's not catastrophic kind of aim time, right? You're definitely not having the aim time of the 7772. Wow, that name is way too long. Or even the T10. At least you do get really, really nice gun traverse speed. Gun traverse dispersion. So it kind of negates some of that aim time. This dispersion here is when you're turning the turret like this, when you're moving, and when the tank actually moves like from left to right. So this is your forward speed kind of thing. This is your turn, and this is your turning the turret. So 0.08 is really, really nice. As you can tell, it is joint first along with the T10 and the AMX. So combine that with pretty good kind of dispersions as well, and you don't get horrible accuracy because you can, obviously put it down a little bit more, but it's good enough, right? It makes up for the bad aim time because you never really have to fully aim anyway, because the dispersion circle is kind of small anyway. So what I'm saying is V-stab, and you just forget about it, right? You just forget that you have aim time on this tank. Always use V-stab when they're kind of in this situation, unless it's very, very like niche kind of tanks. Gun depression of 10, which means you can work a ridgeline, and combined with the armor, as we'll get onto in a little bit, it works pretty well. Now, moving on to mobility. Now, it does go forward at 35, which is roughly the same as the Conqueror. The problem is that it does get quite bad soft terrain resistance. It goes at 25 through very, very boggy soft terrain. A lot like the Conqueror has this issue as well. I mean, it's not quite as bad as the E75, which suddenly basically stops when it goes into soft terrain. However, if you don't actually know what these mean, this is what the kind of top speed is, or if you're just holding down W, what roughly the speed will be if you're going through these terrains. So it'll go 35 on hard terrain, 35 on medium, and then 25 on soft. And hard is like your roads and stuff like that. And then medium is kind of like your dirt and whatnot. And then soft is like your boggy swamp type of stuff. So think of Lakeville. If you went through the city, that'd be hard. And then if you're going up to a base on the grass, that would be medium. And then if you're in the valley, in that kind of like swampy environment, when you really slow down, that's your soft terrain. That's the best way of pointing it out. So as you can see, E75 goes at 40 and then goes to 18 kilometers an hour when in soft. So yeah, it's not quite that bad, but it is very, very similar mobility to the Conqueror. So do you need a turbo? You could. The thing is, we'll talk about equipment later on, but there's so many other things that you could put there. I mean, I guess it depends on the map very much. And with field modifications and stuff like that, I think that you do have the options now when it comes to that. So we will talk about that later on. But the power to weight ratio is the best. Well, actually, no, it's not. The AMX has the best power to weight, but that's besides the point. It's basically the same. So let's just say it's got joint best. And yeah, the rest of it is absolutely fine. It does have the best turret traverse as well, which is something to consider. Albeit not, by much, because the AMX also has 29. So that's kind of really, really close by. Now, for the armor of this tank, and yeah, as you can probably tell, it's looking pretty good on paper. And yes, the armor is good. However, there are some issues with it. As you can see here, it looks great, doesn't it? I mean, the cupola is not really... It's a weak spot, but it's not really a weak spot, because there is so many times that you will just bounce off of this cupola. It's unbelievable. If you're firing a heat, though, this tank, it loses a lot of armor. The cupola becomes a lot more pennable because of the fact that, you can just... It doesn't care about the angles so much. And you can just go straight next to the gun pretty much every time. It is a super reliable pen. And also kind of underneath here, it is very, very reliable. Almost too reliable sometimes. And also the upper plate, again, is a reliable pen zone. So you need to be careful of that. And also, do not try and side scrape in this thing, because it's... The thing is, like, look at that. If they manage to hit that, I mean, yeah, they're going to not pen there, but if they do hit this area, especially if they're firing heat, like that's a really easy shot to hit. I mean, even if you're, really angling well or whatnot, that's still a pen. And it's a nightmare to try and deal with. You can't reverse side scrape, it doesn't do anything. So side scraping this thing is just out the window, honestly. You might as well just not bother, or at least do it as a last resort, to try and, bounce some stuff. Maybe against kind of lower tiers you could side scrape, but anyone that has 300 pen or greater, don't side scrape. It's not going to work, or at least it shouldn't work if they know what they're doing. But many people might not know about that you come up against, so I don't know. It does have 1.8k health, which is very, very nice to have, although it is the lowest out of all of them. However, it's not terrible. 1.8k, anywhere from 1.8 to 1.9 is where I'd expect a tier 9 heavy tank to be anyway, so it's honestly not horrible. But sometimes you do feel, especially when you get into tier 10 games, like that health is not as good as you think. If a Jagdpanzer 100 hits you, and then suddenly 1k of your health is gone, and you're only down to 800, like, yeah, it's not super nice. Especially when there are so many kind of 750 alpha damage guns in the game as well. That means that you're getting free shot. Like, you meet a 60 TP, he just has to fire 3 shots into you and you're dead. Which is not nice, honestly. And now moving down to the camo, you might as well just forget about it. I mean, it's a heavy tank, who cares? View range of 390, which is, again, just nice to have. It doesn't matter what tank you're in. If you have good view range, it's always good to have. And also a fire chance of 20%. So, yeah, that's pretty much everything that we've gone through with the stats. Let's go and talk about the equipment and crew skills, and then we're going to play some games. Okay, so for the equipment for this tank, rammer, obviously, and V-stab, obviously, because I've already said about that. The third one, or the main one, is either HP boost, vents, or a turbo. And luckily, you can select a turbo slot if you have got all the way up through the field mods. You can then choose a turbo slot, and then you could put your turbo in there instead of kind of the first slot, which is not going to get the bonus for. And as you can see, with a turbo, it does go at 40. It'll go at 39 without the slot. So it doesn't really matter too much. It's only 1 km/h difference. But the terrain resistances do go up, and it's nice. It depends on the map. And because of the field mods now, you can choose what equipment choice you want. So you could have a setup like that, and then you could also have a setup where it's more kind of HP boosted. So say you get a city map like Himmel's, you choose this, but then you want to go, say C1, say Serene Coast and C1. You then choose turbo because you want to get there fast. So it all just depends on the map. If you don't really care, then I would just say go vents and then you're good, and you don't really have to worry about any of this. But HP boost is super nice to have, especially on heavy tanks, when they do have the survivability slot, or any tank really that has the survivability slot, like the Badger. You can now put it on that with the field mods. It's so nice to have because the extra track health, and that is fully repaired once you do repair your tracks, is sometimes actually life-saving in game. And it's not even like you're forgoing that much. If you have the crew skills, which I'd recommend, which is Brothers in Arms, Recon, Situational Awareness, obviously, and I'll go into the rest in game. But if you have those, you already have okay kind of view range. And then you use food, you have 440, basically. So even with this, you could go and choose that, and then, yeah, it's really, really good. That's the best kind of all-round that you're going to get. However, I feel if it's a heavy tank, it should be played like a heavy tank. And I don't know, HP boost, it's slowly becoming basically just a must on every single tank for me. It is super good, especially on super heavies. If you put this on a mouse, a 705A, 60TP, it gets a stupid amount of health and you can't even track the thing. Sometimes, because you are tier 9, you're going to meet some tier 7s. If an IS shoots your tracks, you'll just repair and then you'll go and stomp him. Or even if he shoots your tracks, he's not going to do it in one hit. He will not hit you and track you and cause damage with one hit. It just won't work. The traps will just absorb it and you just continue rolling forwards. So it's super nice to have HP boost on this tank. Now for the field mods, as you can see, your health is going to go up over time anyway. But it was just all the way up because I selected the mobility slot. But your health goes up over time, and also I believe it's it doesn't actually tell me, but I think it's dispersion after a certain level. So that's nice to have. But field mods that you want to have, I'm going to show you this in tanks.gg because you can actually see the stats changing. A lot of players say choose all-terrain suspension, right? And there's nothing wrong with this. It will boost your soft terrain resistance up and you'll go faster on soft terrain. There's very few situations, honestly, that it becomes soft terrain. And you can usually avoid those. So if you just drive around that, there's no real point of having this. Because your hard terrain and your medium terrain is completely fine. It doesn't get affected. So if you chose this, your track health suddenly skyrockets. It means that they're going to have to shoot you 3 times, usually, in the tracks, which is mental, unless it's like a super big caliber gun. 430 track health is mental, combined with the improved hardening. Now for the rest of the field mods, I will actually show you them in-game because it's just easier and cleaner. So yeah, let's quickly switch into game. We'll go for the field mods and also the crew skills that I have. Okay, so here we are in game with the field mods. As you can see, it is a bonus to vehicle hit points and to the aiming speed. So if you chose tier 7, it would give you plus 3% to hit points and plus 1% to the aiming speed. Now, as I've already said, lightweight suspension, it goes up to plus 85% suspension durability, which doesn't really tell you much, which is why I showed you it in tanks.gg. So, right, and then you want to go left because it's almost always worth it to go with the less dispersion and longer aim time rather than better aim time and more dispersion, because aim time, it's not irrelevant, but if you can keep the dispersion under control when you're turning the tank like with V-stabs and stuff like that, then the aim time becomes less and less needed. So keep that in mind. And also you then choose the good old, yeah, I'll take a little bit. It works out about a second or a second and a half longer kind of stun time. And honestly, to put it over 440 view range, I'll take that, because it's not like you're always getting stunned constantly over and over and over again. Some games, yes, it feels like that. However, the constant benefit of always having view range compared to the 1 or 2 moments in the game of you getting stunned is worth it, in my opinion. And even if you said, no, I want, less stun, you're taking off 1 second of stun. Is that really worth it? You get stunned for 10 seconds. You get stunned for 9 seconds if you use this. I mean, you get stunned for 10 seconds and you have okay. I mean, it's down to you, right? At the end of the day, you could either choose none, we could choose that, or you could choose that. But for me, I would recommend choosing that. Like, I think it's a no-brainer, but I don't know. Some people have different opinions and stuff. Top reverse speed and then gun traverse, don't bother getting this. It's a lose-lose situation, honestly. Your reverse speed is already at 12. So even if you done that and it went up to 14, you then lose a little bit of traverse speed, which is not great, honestly, because the traverse speed was really, really nice, remember, from the stats. So what's the point of then making that even worse? I don't know. Like, you could do it, I guess, but in my opinion, just leave it. Now for crew skills, as you can see, I do have my E5 crew in there. It works perfectly. You can transfer them all straight across. I've got Chuck Norris as the commander. Got all of his crew skills being trained. He's on the 6th one that he's being trained. And the rest are free skill, training the 4th. So yeah, screenshot this, whatever. Make your crew skills roughly the same and it should be good. I will say intuition is probably my favorite perk in the game at the moment. Apart from obviously 6th sense, but that's just a given. I love intuition, honestly. Intuition helps out so much. No matter what tank you're in, intuition is one of the best perks in the game. Alright, well, that has been more than enough talking about the tank. Let's go and play some games. As you can see, I've got it all set up with the HP boost. We got the rammer and the V-stab. Let's go and play some games. Okay, well, I don't really want to be on this map, but hey, we're here. We're going to go to the middle. As you can see, the loadout kind of 2018 too. So it's roughly 50-50 premium and normal, which is what I kind of go for nearly on every single tank. You got enough AP rounds to deal with lower tiers or, you know, majority of tanks that you meet, and then when you meet heavy tanks, you've got more than enough rounds to deal with them as well. The HE pen on this is only, well, I'd say only 60. It's good enough to deal with majority of lightly armored TDs and stuff like that, so it's not too bad. I'll put one into him. Okay, that bounced. Sure. But there's a guy over here which I need to be careful of. Oh good, it's an E3. How absolutely amazing. I love trying to fight E3s, it's great. I didn't mean to block this guy. Right, intuition, we use that so that we can put a heat round into his lower plate, because at this range we're not realistically going to pen AP on his lower plate. That's unlucky. We go for his cupola, we hit his cupola, but it didn't actually pen for whatever reason. I can't spot the E3 at the back of the map. Can't really shoot them, which is fine at the moment. Yes, he manages to hit here, of course, because yes. Not the best of accuracy. We're still firing heat because, well, it's long distance and it's against heavily armored tanks. What we're meant to do, just fire AP and miss and not pen. And a little bit unlucky with this accuracy, not gonna lie. But that is at 500 meters nearly away, so... And then we hit that. Yeah, short game, whatever you say. Damage target that we're aiming for is around 3k. Should probably stop firing these because it is far away and I'm probably going to need the heat rounds for later on. So we'll switch back to normal AP rounds and maybe we can actually shoot this Centurion. If he goes back a little bit, I can. Ooh, wait, could I shoot this guy? Not really. Although, is he going to push forwards? Okay, no, he's behind there. But if he goes out a little bit... Nice. Okay. That is good. We are not going to be able to shoot him anymore, at least at the moment, unless they push. I want to try and help him, but there's no way for me to help him from here. No, I can only do as much as I can see. Is the Centurion pushing? Okay, we're trying our best, right? Right, we don't want him to die, but he has. I mean, Sometimes there isn't anything you can do about it. See if we can spot this phase 1 or even the E3 at the back again. We do get spotted. That's probably from the E3 that's still sitting there because he's a TD player and doesn't move. Oh man. The 268 should... Oh, hello. Not really what I wanted, but okay. The 268 should spot anyone that goes down, so that's fine. And our engine's gone, so we now die to the Kampfpanzer, I believe. One into him, hopefully it went in. It's not like we can really do much against him. Which is a shame. I mean, I can't really blame my team, to be honest. Like, we went to the middle of the map. That's what I expected to happen. So, put one in. Maybe we can get another. The Kampfpanzer should reload before me, though. Unlucky. Unlucky. We tried to get another one in. It's fine. We got 4k combined, which is good enough. Yeah, 3.2k. I'll see you after this game ends. Alright, well then, we get the first mark and some nice juicy XP, which is always good. I believe it's 20k for field mods, right? Yeah, 20k for field mods on tier 9. So, half a field mod, basically, which is good. Nice. Yeah, we'll play one more game. We didn't really show you the score. 3.2k. This guy done a lot. This guy sat at the back of the map and bounced basically everything that I shot at him. Just pretty nice. Yeah. That's about it. Anyway, hopefully we get a better map. You know, when I said we hope that we get a better map, I really did hope that we got a better map, but it's clearly not happened. Welcome to Minsk. It's great. Yeah. Such a fantastic map, really. It's just glorious in every sense of the word. You can go here and just get shot by this, and then you can go here and then just die, and then, yeah. So many places for you to just die. It's great. But we'll go here. Hopefully we can shoot anyone that's pushing through this way. Oh, hello, Chimera. Yeah, Chimera. Chimera, guard. Of course, we get hit for a 543 by a tier 8. Because that tank's definitely tier 8. Oh well, we're going to have to try and side-scrape. Because we can't do anything else. That is the sad truth of the matter. It's not really worth crossing because we know the Skoda's in the middle. And they're probably going to push to the edge here. Okay, they're not. Right. In that case, then. We should be able to farm these. Why aren't you farming the Skoda? Ice free? Like, you good? I mean, we could just take the hit and then all three of us could shoot him. Okay, maybe we, like, you know, go. That's actually a bad idea to push in. Eye is free. Like, when I said take the hit and go, I didn't mean, like, all the way in. Like, that's not the play. Chimera should peek. Good. Nice shot into him. This is fine so far. Unlucky. Honestly, that's just a little bit unlucky. Again, that's a little bit unlucky because he turned at the exact moment that I shot. Is he going to turn? He did turn, but not... I didn't know I could shoot that. Now I do. As soon as I shoot this next shot, the char is going to probably push me. That's unlucky. Jesus. Okay, I didn't know that you could go there. Buddy, you good? He's pretty much shot nearly all of his rounds, right? Don't let him shoot me. Are you being serious? 257? Really? Well, we get one more in. Thanks, 257. Literally backed off and then allowed them to push. I don't know, man. If this guy just stayed on the corner, he would have stopped them from pushing. Because the Chimera would have died instantly, and they would not have pushed. And it doesn't help that we have an E75 that is just doing nothing, basically. Like that and a Tiger 2 that just done nothing sitting back here. Because it's pointless shooting this, you might as well go around and just fight the heavies. But, oh well. We can't do anything now. Right, well, we actually won that game. So we can apply at least. This guy actually carried quite well at the end. He basically won a full health duel against a T10, which was interesting. Yeah. Either way, I mean, this guy, yeah. He done good. The rest of our team, not so much, right? I don't know. Maybe I expect too much of them. So the 257 running away for no reason. Like, he could have just sat there and just farmed them. And then the E75 and... I don't know. It doesn't matter. Either way, this tank is good, okay? It is very good. The best one that you can get out of the Battle Pass. Obviously, the Kunze-Panzer, the K91, you know, tanks like that, they are all kind of not as good as this thing. Like, this thing is by far the best one that you can get out of them. Unless you don't like heavy tanks. If you don't like heavy tanks, then either like the Kunze-Panzer or the Char is probably better for you. But if you do like heavy tanks, and this is kind of a little bit forgiving. It's not super forgiving, but you can definitely bounce some shots that you otherwise wouldn't normally. Then yeah, it's good. It's a lot of people have said it's a better M103, but it's not as good as the Conqueror. And I agree with that. It definitely is kind of in the middle there. So thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this tank review. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It does all help me out greatly, and it's completely free. So yeah, no reason not to subscribe, right? Anyway, leave a comment down below what you think of the Phase 1 and if you've picked this up. And yeah, maybe you don't like the Phase 1, maybe you do like the Phase 1, maybe you think the Char is more your playstyle. Let me know, and I'll see you all in the next one.